this is Tony with BariatricTV.com. I'm here with Dr. Shanu Kothari, and he did a study here at the ASMBS conference, and I'm so excited to hear about the study, and I want him to explain to you. Tell our viewers about the study that you did.
Well, the study is a follow-up to an original study, which was why did certain patients not have bariatric surgery that we saw over several years in our clinic? And we went back and analyzed that, and as I feared, a significant portion of those patients were deemed good candidates by the bariatric team and met NIH criteria, but their insurance denied coverage for that procedure. So we had published that a few years ago, and my question is, what is the natural history? What happens to those patients over time? And so this study was a follow-up in which we actually drilled into their charts and studied through our electronic medical record what happened to those patients, what new obesity-related comorbid conditions developed over just short 3-year follow-up period compared to those that got the surgery.
Mm-hmm. And from your study, I saw that although their weight didn't increase much more, their comorbidities did. Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yes, so basically you have two sets of patients, those that got surgery and those that didn't. And they were the same age, sex, body mass index or BMI in both groups. Really the only difference was one person's insurance said yes, and the other group of patients, the insurance denied them. So they were really the same groups of patients, and their BMI was about 48 in both groups going into the study. Now, as you'd expect, those that got weight loss surgery, their BMI dropped to 30 at a 2-year follow-up period. And interestingly, those who did not have bariatric surgery, their weight did not go up, but it unfortunately didn't go down. It stayed the same. But what did happen is over that 3-year follow-up period, significant obesity-related comorbid conditions developed. Specifically, diabetes, an increased risk of incidence of diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and lipid disorders all developed as new conditions that those patients never had before, as opposed to less than 1% incidence in all of those patients who had had bariatric surgery.
So how do you think this research is going to affect insurance coverage in the future?
Well, the evidence doesn't lie. And the take-home message of this study, I think, is you can pay some now or pay a lot more later. And so when the focus of the study was not economics, it wasn't looking at healthcare expenditures. We have the ability at our organization to drill down and look at that information and glean that to see the healthcare expenditures for the surgery versus the obesity-related conditions. And I'll be the first to admit, I understand that weight loss surgery is not a cheap operation by any means, but when you think bang for your buck, the return on your investment, and the question is, do third-party payers want to pay for the ramifications of not doing surgery?
Right.
And so what is that in terms of the amount of diabetes, the high blood pressure, the sleep apnea, and the ramifications of all of this over time? This was just 3-year follow-up. What's going to happen to this patient population that was denied at 5 years and 10 years?
Right.
And then subsequently, what's going to happen to those readmissions and the secondary end organ damage, let's say, from diabetes? How many people are going to go on to peripheral vascular disease, to amputations, to kidney failure, to dialysis?
Which are
all of these are healthcare
expensive.
expenditures,
Yes,
absolutely.
very expensive.
So most insurance companies really have no problem covering those.
And then the long-term coverage too, of people that get into a situation where they're morbidly obese and they can't move and they can't, it just adds up.
It just adds up over time, and so one can only infer when you look at this data, which was very unbiased, very objective. This was querying the electronic medical record of just patients over time that when we saw them in the clinic, we don't know if they're going to get approved or denied, and we just follow them over time to see the natural history and the metabolic consequences of what happens when patients who are deemed appropriate candidates for surgery are denied coverage.
Yeah. As a patient myself, I can't thank you enough for doing a study like this, and I hope in the future that it does help other people be able to get insurance approval and get surgery.
I do too, and I hope what we need is people just like yourself. Unfortunately, it's a bit self-serving for a bariatric surgeon to tell an insurance company, you need to cover this, because they see that as how I make my living. But the real power is in the people, patients such as yourself, success stories, long-term success that shows it does work, there's proven benefits, and you're a living example of it. And that's what we need, is we need more patient testimonials to demonstrate that which we as bariatric surgeons have known for years. Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for your time.